Bioluminescent caps breathed in slow, tidal pulses, casting green and violet across the carved stone like a heartbeat you could see. Chapter 1. The Fawn. Curiosity. Innocence. Vulnerability. The shroom room was humming before he even crossed the threshold. Bioluminescent caps breathed in slow, tidal pulses, casting green and violet across the carved stone like a heartbeat you could see. Spores hung in the air, drifting in little constellations. A copper bowl of spring water waited on a low altar. Woven charms from Mama Rap rattled when the room sighed. Professor Rapp adjusted his glasses as if clarity were a choice. Field research, he told himself, which is what men say when they're afraid to admit they're searching for mercy. From the far shelf, a cluster of mushrooms glowed unlike the others, silver veining, a faint halo, a shiver that felt like a whispered dare. He reached for a safer cap, paused, then smirked at his own caution, and took the brightest crown. Knowledge is power, he said, because old scripts are comfortable. He chewed. The floor left him. Color poured through his bones, warm as a first summer. Vines of light unspooled from the ceiling and stitched a meadow where stone had been. Brass rose sang around his knees. Chimes tinkled a distance. He staggered forward, glasses skewed, and saw them. 3 fawns stepped out of the dawn. They were small, not frail, legs like reeds, pelts freckled with constellations, eyes bright enough to embarrass the sun. Their hooves did not strike earth so much as ask it for permission. With each step, the meadow brightened. He tried to speak and found permission was not his to grant. The first fawn tilted its head. Its ears quivered in a wind he could not feel. When it spoke, his chest hurt it before his ears. Do you remember when wonder was enough? His throat worked. Memory came like rain, fireflies in a jar, and believing they were stars he could hold. The way he once listened to wind and called it advice. The summer he kept a marble in his pocket because it looked like a planet, and he was sure that meant something. He had traded all that for perfect sentences. The second fawn nosed his hand, and warmth unfurled from skin to marrow. Gentleness is not weakness, it is precision. It touches exactly what armor misses. He saw every debate he'd won by making someone smaller. Every time he'd chosen to be right instead of kind. The moments lined up like a cruel syllabus he had assigned to himself. The third fawn wobbled when it walked. Its legs trembled, but it came anyway, the tiniest tremor carrying the boldest truth. Vulnerability is a door. You can defend a wall for a lifetime and never live a day. Or you can open, he broke. A neat mind makes a messy crash. He sank into the grass and hot tears salted his lips, and for once there was no one to impress. No cleverness to manage the flood. Only his palm pressed to his chest as if to keep it from falling out. I'm sorry, he whispered to something he could not name. I forgot how to wonder. The meadow brightened. The fawns lifted their slender faces as if accepting apology were a sacred profession. Beyond the light, a familiar racket leaked in. Footsteps, whispers, a wheeled board humming just above stone. The shroom room's door squeaked open. Donation Rap stuck his head in, sniffed, squinted. Ayo, Professor, you good teach. He took in the sight, robes akimbo, glasses crooked, a man hugging new grass that used to be a floor. Donation turned his head and hollered down the hall. He gone. Somebody call Mama Rap and cut the live feed. Nah, wait, keep the live feed. Spectator Rap slid in like a newscaster to a miracle. Rap Palace News breaking story. Professor Rap for his own soul. Brought to you by the Give a Little, Heal a Lot fundraiser. Like, share, subscribe, and a jingle rose from somewhere that might have been the ceiling or his conscience. Open your wallet, open your heart. Every little dollar is where healing starts. Civil Surfer hovered in on his board, crossed his arms, and floated a foot above the mushrooms. My guy crying over Bambi in 4K. My mama rap arrived last, bracelets singing. She took one look and stopped the room with a glance. Close that door, she said, and the door obeyed. Professor Rapp did not see the tribe. He saw a classroom he hadn't paid for. Do you see them? He asked the air, reaching. They're professors, too, but of the meadow, of beginnings. Civil Surfer leaned against nothing. What they teaching? Forest algebra. Mama Ama Rap lowered herself beside him, unbothered by grass that wasn't there. What they teaching you, baby? He swallowed. That I have been wrong. That innocence is not ignorance. It's a way of seeing. That gentleness means what nothing else can. That to be open is to be alive. And he laughed, small and horrified. I have been very closed. The first fawn stepped so close its breath might have been music. Curiosity keeps you awake, it said. Ask without needing to own the answer. Professor Rapp nodded like a penitent. Yes, the second pressed its brow to his wrist. Gentleness keeps you human. He unclenched. He hadn't known how tense his fingers were until they remembered they were hands. The third, trembling, vulnerability keeps you true. He lifted his face, tear-slick and lit from inside. I'm listening, he told them. And for once it wasn't a performance. Spectator Rap, whispering into his mic now instead of booming. We are witnessing a metamorphosis, folks. Caterpillar to softer caterpillar. Updates on the hour. Donation Rap elbowed him. Shh, let him hear it. For a while, seconds, hours, a lifetime, the only sound was breath and bells and his ribs learning a new rhythm. The meadow widened. Dawn refilled itself and poured over the horizon again and again. The fawns ran, and each hoofprint left a small, bright beginning. When the color thinned and the shroom room's stone suggested itself again, when grass remembered it was floor and dawn tucked itself behind the lamps, the fawns stood at the edge of the vision and blinked at him in agreement. Take us with you, but don't trap us. Let us visit when you forget. He nodded. I forget a lot. Mama Amarap smoothed his hair back with a palm that smelled like cedar. Professor Rapp had 3 notebooks open, 2 pens uncapped, and a page where he'd written vulnerability in a hand that looked like weather. The letters refused to sit straight. They leaned into each other like a family. Donation Rapp slid a steaming cup across the table. Black with honey. You look like you forgot sugar was invented. Professor Rapp smiled with the humility of a man who just met his own reflection. You brought it. I ain't the enemy of kindness, bro. Just a frequent roaster. He sipped his own and watched the notebook. So, is this the part where you make it a syllabus? No. The professor surprised himself. Not yet, he tapped the page. This isn't doctrine. It's posture. Posture, Donation repeated as if tasting a new word on an old tongue. A way to stand in the world without stepping on it. He closed the notebook like a promise. I'll live it for a while, then maybe I'll speak. Donation set his cup down with a small nod, as if setting a stone in a river and trusting the current. Look at you, he said softly, evolving. Professor Rapp glanced at the window. For a flicker, a fawn's eye looked back from the glass. When he blinked, It was a reflection of light on a story he hadn't finished. By noon, the Hall of Residence had collected a dozen curious raps who pretended they were there for other reasons. Professor Rapp stood before an empty chalkboard and did not pick up the chalk. The silence was his first risk. "You ain't gonna draw nothing?" Civil Surfer asked, disappointed for sport. "No pictures today," the professor said. "Just practice." Trying to listen more. Mama Ama Rapp rocked on her heels, approving the way only a woman can who knows approval is not the point. "Then listen," she said. "What you hear?" He looked at them, really looked. Their faces were not positions to win, but leaves to witness. Spectator Rap vibrating around a joke he could save for later. Donation pretending to lean, but actually holding. Civil Surfer a swagger that hid a tenderness the size of a small ocean. He heard their breaths collecting into a rhythm. He heard his own pride shaking loose like coins in a pocket he didn't need. "I hear a pack," he said, surprising himself with a word he hadn't chosen yet. "I hear a family," Civil Surfer coughed. "Don't get mushy. Too late," Donation said. They laughed, and the room built a small bridge between who he'd been and who he might be. That night, alone in the corridor that ran behind the meditation grove, Professor Rapp paused where the lanterns made pools of amber. From the edge of his side it trembled. He turned just enough to let the vision arrive without chasing it. A fawn stood in the doorway of shadow, head cocked, ears forward, as if listening to a song only the hallway could sing. It took one step, then another. Its legs shook. It kept coming. "Thank you," he said, which was not something he said often or early. The fawn blinked. The hall tasted like rain. Then it was gone or had never been, which felt like the same thing in a place where reality loved to be generous. He put his palm to the stone. It was very cool and very real. He understood, somewhere below words, that cool and real were friends with soft and holy. He did not write a lecture that night. He did not outline a 5-part series or invent a certification. He made tea and sat still long enough for his heartbeat to tell him a story. It went like this. Curiosity keeps you awake. Gentleness keeps you human. Vulnerability keeps you true. When he finally slept, the meadow waited, not as a test, but as a place that would still have him. And in the morning, he woke curious. That was enough to be new. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2, The Owl, Wisdom, Intuition, Shadows. The meadow still lingered in Professor Rapp's chest days after his breakdown. He tried to carry himself with softness now, letting the tribe talk without cutting in, letting silence stretch without rushing to fill it. But every night, when the hallways of the Rap Palace settled into deep quiet, another presence began circling him. It started with a sound. Not loud, not shrill, just a low hoo-hoo rolling through the walls like a secret keeping itself. At first, he thought it was the mushroom's echoing aftertaste. Then he thought it was spectator Rap pulling pranks with a speaker. But on the third night, when he finally followed the sound into the dark library, he saw it. High above the shelves, perched between rafters that seemed too narrow to hold weight, sat an owl. Its feathers shimmered in shades of smoke and moonlight. Its eyes, 2 burning lanterns, cut through his cleverness like knives through paper. Professor Rapp froze. "I thought the fawns were the lesson." The owl blinked once. The entire library exhaled. "The meadow was your opening." Its voice pressed into him. "But even innocence, if blind, can stumble into traps. You are not asked to abandon your mind. You are asked to cleanse it. Professor Rapp trembled. He wanted to argue, but the owl swooped down silently, landing on the table with talons that made no sound. Its wings folded like pages closing. Wisdom is not knowledge hoarded, it said. Wisdom is knowledge wed to intuition. You have trusted your logic, but not your sight. You have prized shadows cast by candles, yet feared the darkness where stars burn. He swallowed. His mind flickered with memories. Debates where he won but learned nothing. Lessons where he spoke but did not listen. Books he devoured while ignoring his own hunger for meaning. The owl tilted its head, almost pitying. You fear being outsmarted. That fear makes you blind. Trust your sight, not your schemes. The room thickened with shadow. From every corner he saw shapes of himself, versions where he twisted truth for power, versions where he manipulated the tribe to stay above them, versions where his hunger for control left him alone. His knees weakened. How do I undo this? The owl's lantern eyes flared. Do not undo. See, shadows only rule when you refuse to look at them. The library warped into a moonlit grove. Owls lined every branch, silent and patient, watching him with unbearable clarity. He felt exposed, as if his thoughts were written on his skin. Then see me, he begged, falling to his knees. Show me what's true beneath my tricks. A silence followed that felt eternal. Finally, the owl spread its wings, and the entire grove dissolved back into the library. Its voice lingered like smoke in his lungs. Wisdom without intuition is hollow. Intuition without wisdom is wild. Balance them, and the shadows will no longer master you. When Professor Rapp blinked, the owl was gone. Only a single feather remained on the table, dark as ink, glowing faintly at the edges. He picked it up, tucking it into his notebook. This time he didn't write. He closed the book and whispered into the quiet, I see. From then on, when the tribe asked him questions, he paused, not to calculate the cleverest answer, but to listen for the truth beneath. Sometimes he said nothing at all, and that silence taught more than his longest lectures. But at night, when the halls grew still, he still felt the weight of two lantern eyes, reminding him that wisdom and shadow walk hand in hand. Chapter 3, The Wolf, Loyalty, Intuition. The pack the Rap Palace was never still for long. Training shouts echoed through the meditation grove. Donation jingles hummed from donation rap speakers, and civil surfers bored buzzed down the corridors like thunder on wheels. But Professor Rapp, he had grown quieter. The tribe noticed. He no longer interrupted with polished speeches, no longer corrected every word. He paused, listened, and sometimes only nodded. It was unsettling, almost suspicious. Yo, Civil Surfer whispered one night to Donation Rap as they sat outside the shroom room. Professor ain't schemed in weeks. He sick or something. Donation sipped from his ever-present mug. Nah, I think the man's just changing. The fawns cracked him open. The owl gave him shadow sight. You feel it. Civil Surfer shrugged, but he felt it too. Into the grove one evening, the tribe gathered for meditation. Spiritual Rap led them into the grove, where the Chakratati rivers glowed faintly under the moonlight spilling through the high arches. Professor Rapp sat cross-legged among them, the owl feather tucked in his robe. He closed his eyes and let the hum of the rivers drown his old thoughts. At first, nothing. Then the forest shifted. The grove dissolved into wildwood. Trees rose taller, ancient and knotted. The air thickened with musk and pine. And from the shadows stepped wolves, dozens of them. Their coats shimmered, some gray as storm clouds, some white as winter dawn, some black as the abyss. Their eyes gleamed with an eerie unity, 1,000 lanterns burning the same flame. Professor Rapp's heart raced. He expected fangs, snarls, the tearing of flesh. But they only circled him, silent, patient, studying. Then the largest wolf stepped forward, its fur streaked silver, its gaze steady as truth. "You have walked alone," it said, though no mouth moved. "But no one survives the wild alone. Even a professor needs a pack." Professor Rapp's lip trembled. "But I built myself to be apart. To be the one who knows more, controls more, stands above. If I am not separate, then what am I?" The wolf lowered its head, brushing its muzzle against his hand. A warmth surged through him, an acceptance so deep it unraveled his chest. "You are one of many. Leadership is not control. It is loyalty. To protect, to listen, to bleed for the pack. Do you have that courage?" The other wolves closed in, brushing against him with fur that felt like memory. His mind filled with images of the tribe, donation raps, laughter masking exhaustion. Mama Ama raps steady care, civil surfers jokes that hid fear. He realized how often he'd seen them as tools, as pieces in his chessboard. Tears blurred his vision. I don't know if I can be that selfless." The silver wolf's eyes pierced him. "Then learn. Loyalty is not born, it is chosen. Choose, and you will never be alone again." The pack howled. The sound cracked the sky open, rolling like thunder over mountains unseen. I say confession, Professor Rapp snapped awake, gasping. The grove was still, the tribe still seated around him in meditation. But his hands trembled, his heart burned. When the session ended, he stood before them, pale but resolute. "My family," he began, voice unsteady. "I owe you truth." Civil Surfer raised a brow. "This gonna be one of your lectures, or—" "No." Professor Rapp's throat closed, but he pushed through. "I have manipulated you. I twisted words to hold influence, to keep myself above. I was not loyal. I was afraid. Afraid of being nothing if I wasn't the smartest voice in the room." Gasps rippled. Donation Rapp set down his mug. Professor Rapp spread his hands. "But the wolves," he faltered, eyes shining, "they showed me. Leadership is not control. It is loyalty. It is standing with you, not above you. And I want to choose that, if you'll have me." Silence. Then Mama Amra Rapp stepped forward, her bracelet chiming like soft bells. She laid a hand on his shoulder. "Baby, loyalty ain't a contract, it's a daily walk. You want to walk with us?" He nodded, tears slipping free. "Yes." "Then you already started." The tribe closed in, not with suspicion, but with warmth. Civil Surfer clapped him on the back. "Don't make me regret this, Professor Wolf." Donation Rapp raised his mug to the pack. The hall echoed with laughter and howls, some playful, some solemn, all binding. The shift from then on, Professor Rapp changed again. He didn't just listen, he defended. He carried scrolls without being asked, stood by tribe members when training got rough, and admitted when he didn't know the answer. The wolves had burned a vow into him, loyalty over pride, pack over power. And sometimes late at night, when the palace was silent, he swore he heard howling echo through the halls. Not frightening, not lonely, just a reminder that he was no longer alone. cosmic comedy of Anonymous Cherry Prologue. The birth of a cosmic project, the universe had a problem. Not the usual kind, black holes snacking on galaxies, Saturn misplacing its rings again, or Mercury tripping into retrograde and knocking over half the solar system's paperwork. No, this was a different problem. The world needed someone who could talk. Not just chatter, not just small talk. The universe needed someone who could connect, explain, persuade, soothe, and occasionally entertain with a very dramatic story about how Mercury ruined their day. Someone who could weave words into bridges, networks, empires. And so, on September 27, 1992, at 12:36 a.m. in Dallas, Texas, the universe clocked in for a special assignment. Inside the hospital, doctors thought they were delivering an ordinary baby. But in the skies above, the cosmos had gathered like rowdy stagehands. The sun in Libra was fumbling with a clipboard, trying to look responsible. The moon in Aries was pacing like an impatient coach ready to shout, "Put me in, I'm ready." Saturn was already scowling, polishing its pocket watch and muttering about responsibility. Jupiter carried 3 armfuls of sticky notes, insisting that everything was going to work out beautifully. Even Pluto, lurking in the shadows, whispered ominously, "Transformation is inevitable," before sipping from a mug labeled World Domination. The stars and planets leaned over Dallas Methodist Hospital like nosy relatives peering into a crib. And there, swaddled and blinking, was Anonymous Cherry, tiny, curious, and blissfully unaware that their life had already been turned into a cosmic group project. The sun adjusted its glasses and cleared its throat. "All right, everyone settle down. This one's special. We've got a communicator here. A Libra sun in the 3rd house, Gemini midheaven. Clearly destined to talk, teach, and write. Words are their superpower." The moon in Aries stomped its foot. No, this one's an adventurer. Philosophy, travel, big ideas. They'll start rebellions with their speeches. They'll blog from mountaintops. Saturn rolled its eyes. Please. They won't get anywhere without discipline. Partnerships, contracts, responsibility, that's what matters. Someone has to teach them the value of a calendar. Jupiter beamed and waved its sticky notes around. "Don't worry. Money, opportunity, success, it's all coming. Just as soon as Cherry learns how to keep receipts and stop losing pens." The universe coughed politely. "Excuse me, everyone. You're all correct in your own way. That's the point. Cherry is meant to be versatile, a speaker, a teacher, an entrepreneur, maybe even a podcaster who can talk about snacks and philosophy in the same sentence. Their voice will ripple across time. Their words will build bridges. Their partnerships will shape empires." The baby hiccuped. The stars all leaned closer, listening. And the universe whispered into Cherry's tiny ear, "Your words are your destiny. Speak them, share them, build with them. The world is waiting." The baby sneezed in approval. The cosmos cheered. The nurses blinked, confused, because they swore they heard a round of applause from nowhere. And thus the story of Anonymous Cherry began part diplomat, part rebel, part spreadsheet enthusiast, forever guided by a universe that insisted on micromanaging their career. A RPRadio.Site donate today, Rapalis 214 Chapter 1. The sun assigns the job. The universe wasn't subtle about assigning destinies. While other newborns got vague life paths like "will grow up to like gardening" or "might invent a better toaster." Anonymous Cherry was given a full career briefing before they could even open their tiny fists. The sun in Libra strolled into the cosmic delivery room first, looking like the manager of destiny it always pretended to be. With a golden clipboard tucked under one arm and oversized reading glasses sliding down its nose, the sun adjusted its halo of light and declared, "All right, folks, let's make this official. Cherry here is a Libra sun in the third house, which means drum roll, please, words, words, and more words." A nearby comet obligingly banged on an asteroid like a drum. The newborn Cherry blinked up from their swaddle as if to say, "Excuse me?" Yes, I know you don't understand yet," the sun said, peering over the clipboard. "But your destiny is clear. You'll talk, you'll write, you'll persuade, you'll mediate. In short, you're the universe's official chatterbox." The moon in Aries, sitting in the corner with its feet kicked up, snorted. "Chatterbox. That's what we're calling it. This kid is going to lead revolutions with their words, not just immediate pizza toppings." The sun ignored the interruption, pulling out a celestial rubber stamp. "Career. Talking a lot." It smacked the stamp onto the top of the cosmic paperwork. Cherry yawned, unimpressed. RPRadio.Site donate today. Rap Palace 214. Look Cherry, the sun continued, in the same tone managers use when explaining office printer etiquette. You're a Libra, which means you crave balance, beauty, and diplomacy. People will come to you with their nonsense, and you'll be the one who smooths it out. You'll be the person everyone trusts to talk sense into chaos. And when you're not busy fixing problems, you'll probably be writing stories, teaching classes, or convincing your friends that yes, pineapple does belong on pizza. Cherry blinked again. The sun leaned closer, lowering its voice dramatically. But here's the catch. You'll spend ages second-guessing every sentence. Should I use a period or an exclamation point? Do I sound too harsh? Too nice? Too emoji. Your Libra brain will analyze everything until you've rewritten the same email 17 times. Balance is your gift, but also your curse. The clipboard snapped shut. RPRadio.Site doing today. Rap Palace 214, just a Mercury in Virgo, poked its head in, holding a stack of index cards. Don't forget to mention spreadsheets. Words plus systems equals money. Mercury muttered before wandering off to reorganize the filing cabinets of the cosmos. The sun sighed. Yes, fine, Mercury's right. Your communication will also make you money. Blogs, lectures, platforms, businesses. You'll find ways to monetize your voice. But remember, perfectionism will haunt you like a needy ghost. From the corner, the moon in Aries yelled, "Boring. This kid's supposed to blog from the top of volcano." "Not in the prologue," the sun shot back. RPRadio.Site donate today. Rap Palace 214, Cherry's soul gave its first cosmic sigh. So let me get this straight. My big grand purpose in life is to be a professional talker. Not just a talker, the sun corrected, puffing out its chest. A diplomatic chatterbox. The person who can make chaos calm, who can speak truth and still make people like them. That's power, kid. Don't underestimate it. Cherry narrowed their newborn eyes. Fine. But if I'm destined to talk this much, I expect the universe to provide at least one good microphone. The sun chuckled, stamping another note on the paperwork. Special equipment request, microphone. Optional podcast theme music. And with that, Cherry's career assignment was sealed. The lights in the hospital flickered dramatically. Somewhere outside, a car alarm went off, just to punctuate the moment. The cosmic audience applauded. The universe grinned. Anonymous Cherry had been officially hired by Destiny, job title, Cosmic Librarian of Words. RPRadio.Site, donate today, Palace 214, end of chapter 1. RPRadio.Site, donate today, Rap Palace 214, chapter 2. The moon causes trouble. The ink on Anonymous Cherry's cosmic paperwork was barely dry when the door to the celestial delivery room burst open. In stormed the moon in Aries, wearing combat boots, a leather jacket, and carrying a backpack stuffed with trail maps, energy drinks, and half a philosophy textbook. The moon didn't knock. The moon never knocked. "What's this nonsense?" the Aries moon shouted, slamming a world atlas onto the table so hard the constellations rattled. The sun in Libra adjusted its glasses, unimpressed. "What's what?" "This career assignment." The moon stabbed a finger at the clipboard. "Talking, diplomacy, writing emails with 17 drafts? No. This kid is not here to sit politely and edit commas. Cherry's here to explore, to conquer, to blog from a mountaintop while lightning strikes in the background. The newborn Cherry, still swaddled, kicked one tiny foot approvingly. The sun sighed. "Oh great, here we go again." The Aries moon paced the room like a motivational speaker who had accidentally drunk 6 espressos before the event. Cherry's got a moon in Aries, 9th house. That means freedom, adventure, big ideas, philosophy, travel. This isn't some boring neighborhood mediator job. This is destiny calling, and destiny has a motorcycle. "Motorcycles are dangerous," the sun muttered, scribbling reckless impulses in the margin of the chart. "Dangerous," the moon bellowed. "Dangerous is exciting. Cherry is meant to leap before looking, to chase truth across oceans, to start businesses and burn bridges if the bridges are boring. This is a soul who says, 'Why not?' instead of 'Should we?'" Cherry burbled something that sounded suspiciously like road trip. The sun slammed its clipboard shut. "Look, Cherry needs balance, not chaos. We can't just let them run off chasing every shiny idea like a squirrel in a gemstone store. Balance is boring," the moon roared. "Balance is beige curtains and lukewarm tea. This soul needs fire, exploration, wild nights. Maybe an impulsive tattoo of a philosophical quote in Latin that they can't actually translate." Mercury in Virgo popped its head back in, holding a dictionary. "If they get a tattoo, I'll make sure it's spelled correctly." "Thank you," the moon said, fist-bumping Mercury before it wandered off again. At this point, Saturn in Aquarius, who had been silently grading papers in the corner, finally looked up. "Honestly, I don't care whether Cherry writes from a mountaintop or a basement. But they will need to do it with a partner, because contracts are destiny. No more arguments until they learn teamwork." The Aries moon groaned dramatically. "Saturn, you're the human equivalent of a group project where nobody shows up." Saturn sniffed. "Structure is not optional." Meanwhile, the sun and the moon were nose to nose, glaring. "Words are their gift," the sun insisted. "Adventure is their calling," the moon countered. Cherry, torn between the two, gurgled thoughtfully. Both sides made sense. Why not both? The universe, watching all this chaos unfold, facepalmed. "This is going to be one of those lifetimes," it muttered. And so it was decided not by agreement, but by sheer inevitability. Cherry's destiny would be a tug of war between diplomacy and rebellion, between spreadsheets and spontaneous road trips, between carefully crafted emails and fiery speeches about truth and freedom. The cosmic contract was sealed in glittering starlight, stamped with a warning. Caution, we'll want to do everything at once. The moon zipped up its backpack, grinning ear to ear. Perfect. I'll see you all at the volcano. The sun groaned. Say it's on silent. Jupiter clapped cheerfully. And Cherry. Cherry just smiled. End of chapter 2. Chapter 3. Saturn the strict teacher. Just as the moon was zipping off with its volcano maps, and the sun was filing another complaint about unnecessary drama, the door creaked open. In shuffled Saturn in Aquarius, wearing a tweed jacket with elbow patches, clutching a leather-bound folder stuffed with rules, regulations, and life lessons. Saturn looked like the sort of cosmic teacher who smelled faintly of chalk dust and disappointment. Cherry, Saturn began, clearing its throat in the exact tone principles used before handing out detention. We need to have a talk about responsibility. The newborn blinked. The moon groaned. Here we go, buzzkill incoming. The sun tried to look hopeful. Finally, someone with authority. Saturn slammed the folder down onto the cosmic desk. It landed with such weight that even Pluto muttered, over-dramatic much, from the shadows. Let's get this straight, Saturn said, pulling out a long pointer stick that no one asked for. You, Cherry, have me sitting in your 7th house of partnerships. That means your entire career, your growth, your success, your empires will come through alliances, contracts, collaborations. Cherry hiccuped, unimpressed. Saturn continued, but not just any partnerships. Oh no, you'll have karmic lessons. Some partners will flake, some will betray. Some will take 3 months to reply to emails. But through all of it, you will learn how to choose wisely. Your destiny requires commitment, patience, boundaries. The moon slumped in its chair, whispering to Jupiter, boundaries, schmundaries. I say we just run off and start a commune. Saturn smacked the pointer against the floor. No communes. The sun adjusted its glasses. So Saturn, what you're saying is Cherry won't get anywhere alone. Correct, Saturn replied with grim satisfaction. They will need allies, contracts, real partnerships. Without structure, Cherry will get lost in chaos. With structure, Cherry will build legacies. Jupiter, bouncing in with a fistful of sticky notes, shouted, I love legacy. Saturn shot Jupiter a look. This is serious. The newborn Cherry stretched, considering. On the one hand, this all sounded like a lot of responsibility. On the other hand, maybe having the right teammates wasn't such a bad idea. Think of me as your cosmic coach, Saturn said, softening slightly. I won't make it easy. You'll feel tested. You'll feel restricted. You'll want to quit sometimes. But every time you show up, every time you commit, you'll grow stronger. And one day, Cherry, you'll thank me. Doubt it, muttered the moon. Saturn ignored it, closing the folder with a dramatic thud. Your destiny is built brick by brick. Discipline, patience, contracts, those are your tools. Without them, all your volcano speeches and pretty words will collapse like a badly baked souffle. Cherry gurgled. It sounded suspiciously like, what's a souffle? The universe leaned in, amused. You'll find out later. Spoiler. It falls if you slam the oven door. And with that, Saturn packed up its folder, nodded curtly at Cherry, and shuffled out of the room, leaving behind an invisible weight of responsibility. The moon immediately rolled its eyes. Well, that was fun. Who invited the hall monitor? The sun adjusted its clipboard. Like it or not, Saturn's right. Partnerships will shape Cherry's destiny. Cherry sighed from the swaddle. So far, their cosmic job description included talking a lot, starting revolutions, and now, learning patience with contracts. This was starting to sound less like a career plan and more like a sitcom. End of chapter 3.
The city was never quiet, not even when the clock hit 3 in the morning. Sirens still screamed somewhere in the distance. Tires squealed on broken asphalt. A dog barked like it was still owed dinner. South Dallas had its own heartbeat and it never stopped racing. Jeffrey Jerome Price, the streets called him 8-Ball Ice Rap, leaned his shoulder against a wall, sprayed with a dozen layers of graffiti. His chain swung low, a dull shine in the dying neon. He smirked like always, the smirk that had gotten him out of fights, into women's arms, and sometimes deeper into trouble than he could handle. His grin was armor, his jokes were smoke, but tonight both had run dry. The streets felt heavier than usual. His chest too. He dragged on the cigarette until the fire kissed his fingers and let the ash fall to the cracked sidewalk. For a moment, he thought about his grandma's Bible, the one she used to keep folded open on her table. He'd laughed at it once. She told him, "Boy, God's got vaults of blessings with your name written on the lock." He'd laughed then. But tonight, the memory burned deeper than the cigarette. That's when he saw it. Past the old laundromat with its windows busted out, past the rusted doors chained shut for years, something glowed. Not the faint yellow hum of a flickering street lamp, no. This glow pulsed green and gold, throbbing like a heartbeat. Jeffrey frowned, half drunk, half curious. Ain't no way. Must be that corner store whiskey still talking. But his feet moved anyway. The closer he got, the stronger the glow. It bled out through the cracks of the laundromat door. He pulled it open and stepped inside, crunching glass under his sneakers. The light wasn't from a bulb, wasn't from anything human. It was a vault, not made of metal, but made of light. Emerald and gold symbols swirled across its face, rearranging themselves in rhythm like graffiti alive. Tags writing and erasing themselves with invisible spray paint.
Why do I now see my pain turning into power?
Jeffrey froze. His breath hitched. Another pulse.
Why is my laughter still medicine, even after the loss?
He staggered back, clutching his chain. What the? Nah, I'm hearing things.
Why do I attract divine supply, even when I feel unworthy?
Jeffrey shook his head, trying to laugh it off. But the sound came out cracked. His throat burned. He wanted to say it was bullshit, some dream. But tears had already started. The graffiti on the walls hummed, spinning with another line. Why does my story carry the keys for others? Still trapped. He dropped to his knees. For once in his life, the grin fell off his face, and he let it. The vault thundered with light, louder than any bass he'd ever rapped over. And then the questions came like verses, each one slicing through him, remixing his soul. Why is it safe for me to walk in abundance now? Why do doors open when I step with truth, not hustle? Why does every mistake I made now shine as wisdom? Why do I feel God remixing my rhythm into a higher beat? The sound built, not just a whisper now, but a chorus. And from within that chorus rose a jingle, a song, part gospel, part trap, part lullaby. RP Radio, love the content. Drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, Rap Palace, 214.
Loop it, live it, lift a soul. $20 keeps a dream in control. $50 builds the frame. $100 lights the flame.
Jeffrey felt the beat vibrate in his ribs. He wasn't hallucinating. He wasn't drunk enough for that. This was real. He could almost see faces in the light. Strangers, shadows, hands reaching toward him like they were funding this very moment, like their giving had pulled the vault open for him.
He laughed through the tears, shaking his head. Damn, somebody already paid in, huh? Just so Ice Rap could get a chance to walk in.
The vault pulsed harder, as if nodding. He stood, legs unsteady, but soul stronger than it had ever been. The chain on his neck glowed, no longer a weight but a crown.
Ice Rap, he whispered. Then he grinned, wild, new, unashamed. Nah, Vault Rap now.
The door sealed shut behind him, no turning back. The magic vault had claimed him. RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, Rap Palace. Vault Walker Saga. Chapter 2. The First Step. Inside, the vault door had sealed behind him with a sound that was neither slam nor lock, but something more final, like the last bar of a track fading into silence. Jeffrey turned slowly, eyes adjusting. He expected cold steel or prison-like interior, but what lay before him stretched beyond imagination. The inside of the vault wasn't a room, it was a city, a living cathedral of light. Columns rose into infinity, woven with flowing rivers of emerald and gold energy. Bridges arched overhead like glowing veins, and every step he took echoed like a beat dropping in an endless chamber.
Damn, this looked like somebody left Heaven's studio open.
But then he heard it. Footsteps. A figure emerged from the glow, tall and lean, wrapped in a cloak patterned with symbols that shifted like living graffiti. His face was half hidden by a hood, but his eyes cut through the dark like twin turntables spinning fire.
Welcome, 8-Ball Ice Rap. You opened the vault. Hold up. Who the hell you supposed to be? Some wizard? Some preacher?
The figure smiled faintly, pulling back his hood. He was older, his braids silvered, his jawline sharp as a razor. Across his chest glowed a medallion shaped like a key.
They call me Legacy Rap. I've been waiting. Waiting? Man, I just walked in here like 5 minutes ago. The vault doesn't open by accident. You were marked long before you knew. The streets only gave you the nickname, but the vault knows the name written on your soul.
For the first time, Jeffrey had no comeback. His tongue fumbled, but his mind lit with 1,000 questions.
The vault speaks in rhythm. Listen, and it will guide you.
The floor beneath Jeffrey rippled. Out of the streams of light rose glowing words, shimmering in the air like lyrics caught mid-bar. They circled him, pressing questions into his heart, the same way they had when he first touched the door. RP Radio. Love the content. Drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App Rap Palace 214. Why do I trust myself more now than I ever did before? Why is my future no longer chained to my mistakes? Why does every closed door redirect me toward my true path? Why is my laughter a weapon against the darkness? Why am I chosen to show others their own vault of power? RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, Rasaraf, Palace, Kuna, 14. Jeffrey's knees almost buckled. Each line hit harder than the last, and his chest felt like a drum being played by unseen hands.
Man, I feel this, but I don't even know what to do with it. You don't need to do. You need to walk. Each step you take in here unlocks what's been locked in you. But be warned, the vault doesn't just bless, it tests. Tests? Like school? Like life. Except this time you can't cheat and you can't charm your way past it.
Before Jeffrey could respond, the chamber shifted. The bridges above him shook. The rivers of light surged like storm water. From the glow, a shadow stepped forward. A mirror of himself. Same hoodie, same chain, same grin, except the eyes were hollow, cold.
Your first trial is here. Before you can carry anyone else's truth, you must face your own.
Jeffrey stared at the shadow. His throat dried. For once, jokes failed him. The vault pulsed again. RP Radio, love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App Rap Palace 214.
Face the mirror, claim the key. Truth unlocks what you can't see. Run no more, laugh no more. Open wide the inner door.
RP Radio, love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App Rap Palace 214. Jeffrey clenched his fists. His shadow grinned wider. The vault hummed like a stadium about to witness a fight, and in that instant Jeffrey knew the real battle wasn't against the city, the hustles, or the pain. The real battle was against himself. RP Radio, love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App Rap Palace 214.
It's so hard, I ain't got a faith. I can make the earth great. It's so hard, I ain't got a faith. I can make the earth great. It's so hard, I ain't got a faith. I can make the earth great. Make it move, make it groove. make it move, make it beat it so hard, I ain't got a faith. I can make the earth quake. Beat it so hard, I ain't got a faith. I can make the earth quake. Beat it so hard, I ain't got
Chapter 4, Temple Without a Roof. The chamber opened into vastness. No ceiling, no sky, only an endless stretch upward, as if the roof had been torn away and replaced with infinity. Columns stood half-built, some reaching high, others abandoned at their foundations. Tools lay scattered across stone blocks, as though the builders had vanished mid-labor. Anonymous Cherry walked among them. He touched the unfinished walls and felt his own heart reflected in their incompletion. He had mastered the square, balanced the plumb, sought the word beneath stone, yet still he was unbuilt. A great bronze key appeared in his hand, cold and heavy. On it no inscription, no mark, only silence. Cherry understood. To be a secret master was to guard mysteries that even he had not yet fully received. The key was not for opening, but for keeping. From the shadows of the columns the chant rose, solemn, deliberate, as if sung by unseen masons still at their labor. Stone on stone the work begun. 1775 coffee fuels the sun. Keys we hold, the doors we keep. Sip the fire, wake the deep. Cherry lifted the key to the unfinished wall, and as he pressed it there, light flared across the stones. For an instant the wall looked whole, crowned with a roof of golden fire. But as soon as he stepped back, the vision faded. The temple returned to ruin, its incompletion a reminder. The work is never finished. The voice of the chamber whispered, to build the temple is to build the self. To guard the key is to guard your silence. No man enters a finished lodge, for no man is finished. The chant deepened, the choir layering their voices like scaffolding over stone. Hold the key, guard the right. 1775 coffee stirs the night. Walls may fall, roofs may bend, but the work will never end. Cherry closed his fist around the key, and though it dissolved into dust, the weight remained in his palm, not a burden, but a reminder. Overhead, the open void seemed to whisper back to him, echoing the chant like a vow carried into eternity. Sip the silence, guard the flame. He exhaled, and the next passage revealed itself in shadow. RP Radio Cash App Rap Palace 214, Chapter 5, Twin Shadows at Dawn. The chamber was shaped like a tomb. Two pillars stood at its entrance, one black, one white. Their shadows stretched across the floor until they met in the center. Between them lay a coffin of polished stone, unmarked, sealed with silence. Anonymous Cherry paused. He knew the lesson already whispered by the air. All builders pass, all hands one day grow still. To master the craft was not to escape death, but to labor in such a way that the work itself outlived the worker. He stepped closer, his reflection glimmering faintly on the coffin's surface. For a moment he thought he saw his own lifeless face there, eyes shut, lips sealed around the word he still sought. Then the chant began, slow, mournful, like a dirge woven into rhythm. Shadows fall, the day is done. 1775 coffee fuels the sun. Hands grow cold, but works remain. Sip the cup, remember the name. Cherry placed his hand on the coffin. Warmth pulsed beneath the stone, not of life, but of memory, the echo of all who had labored before him. He realized he was not standing at an end, but at a bridge. The pillars, Jachin and Boaz, were not guardians of death, but witnesses of continuity. The chamber's voice whispered, perfection is not completion. It is remembrance. To honor the craft is to keep the dead alive in the living. The chant swelled, rising like incense around the pillars. Stone to dust, breath to flame, 1775 coffee speaks the same. Sip the right, keep the vow, the work is then, the work is now. The coffin dissolved in a mist. In its place lay only a single green sprout, breaking through the cracks in the floor. Life born out of stillness, the dawn after shadow. Above the pillars appeared an inscription, written in faint fire. The dead do not vanish. They build in silence through you. The final refrain of the chant carried him forward, a promise echoing with the weight of memory. Sip remembrance, guard the dawn. The pillars trembled, and a new passage opened in their shadow. RP Radio Cash App Rap Palace 214 Chapter 6. The veil split twice. The chamber was dim, lit only by a single lamp swaying above. Before Anonymous Cherry hung a heavy veil of black cloth, stitched with patterns that shimmered faintly, triangles folding into circles, circles vanishing into lines. Behind it he heard voices in hushed counsel, too faint to make out. He reached to lift the veil, but the fabric resisted, as though weighted with centuries of secrets. The voices paused, and one called out, not every truth is meant for the tongue. Some truths live only in silence. Cherry let the veil fall back. He understood. To speak without measure was to betray, but to hold silence was to guard. Then from the shadows, the chant began, not loud, not triumphant, but a quiet vow repeated like a heartbeat. Sip the vow, guard the flame. 1775, coffee speaks no name. Hold the key, veil the night. Silence guards the builder's light. The words seem to stitch themselves into the veil, sealing it tighter with every refrain. Cherry realized the veil was not meant to be torn open. It was meant to be carried in the heart. Some mysteries would always remain veiled, their power drawn from restraint. He whispered, almost like joining the oath. Not every word is for the world. Some words are for the work alone. The lamp flared, revealing for an instant the faint outline of two figures seated in council behind the veil. They did not rise, nor did they speak again. But Cherry felt their gaze, a test of discretion, a measure of his silence. The chant returned, softer now, almost like a lullaby meant to anchor him in discipline. Guard the veil, seal the tongue. 1775 coffee keeps it strong. Sip the right, speak it never, hold the silence, guard forever. The veil dissolved in the smoke. Beyond it, a narrow passage glimmered faintly, as though carved of secrecy itself. Above the entry, words pulsed in dim fire. To guard is greater than to know. As Cherry stepped forward, the final refrain followed him like a seal placed on his lips. Sip in silence, guard the flame. The next chamber stirred him, waiting. RP Radio Cash App Rap Palace 214 Chapter 7. Light measured by fire, the chamber glowed red. Braziers lined the walls, their flames steady and tall, casting shadows that refused to flicker. In the center stood a great scale, one pan empty, the other filled with ash. Beside it lay a mallet carved of ironwood, heavy with authority. Anonymous Cherry stepped closer, and the heat grew sharper, pressing sweat from his skin. The ash on the scale shimmered as though alive, and a voice rose from the fire itself. Every man is weighed, not by what he claims, but by what remains after the fire. Cherry's breath slowed. He reached for the mallet, and as his hand closed around it, the unseen choir began their chant, not mournful, not playful, but deliberate, like a ritual verdict read aloud. Flame reveals, fire is the guide. 1775 coffee keeps the scale aligned. Ashes fall, but truth remains. Sip the heat that burns the chains. The braziers flared higher, and Cherry raised the mallet, striking the base of the scale. The ash scattered upward, bursting into sparks that hovered in the air before vanishing into silence. The empty pan swung evenly now, perfectly balanced. He whispered the truth to himself. Judgment is not wrath. Judgment is weight measured by flame. The chamber replied, its voice like law spoken from eternity. To strike with anger is destruction. To strike with balance is justice. The chant rose again, rhythmic and sharp, like hammer falls against steel. Judge the night, weigh the day, 1775 coffee lights the way. Sip the fire, hold it true, justice burns in all you do. The mallet dissolved into embers in his hand, but its weight lingered in his chest, heavy, not crushing, but steadying. The scales folded inward, vanishing to a single line of light that stretched forward, shaping itself into a narrow door. Above it glowed the inscription, "The fire does not destroy, it reveals." The final refrain carried him into the next passage, the chant echoing like a law that could not be broken. Sip the fire, weigh the soul. Cherry stepped onward, his heart steady as the scales. Our Radio Cash App, Rap Palace 214 Chapter 8, Compass of the Invisible Circle. The chamber was empty stone, but in its center hovered a compass, vast, glowing, suspended in the air with no hand to guide it. Its arms opened and closed slowly, drawing lines of fire across the floor. From those lines, circles bloomed and vanished, expanding and collapsing into themselves. Anonymous Cherry stepped inside one of the circles. The air pulsed, and the compass turned as if measuring him, not the space. Every breath he took bent the light lines. His heartbeat echoed through the geometry. The chamber whispered, Do you measure your world, or does your world measure you? The compass locked still, its two arms forming a perfect arc above his head. That's when the chant began, winding in rhythm like a circle sung in endless repetition. Draw the line, close the round. 1775 coffee marks the ground. Circle wide, spirit whole. Sip the cup that steadies soul. The lines beneath his feet shifted, folding into endless mandalas. He felt the lesson press into his chest. The compass does not merely draw. It defines boundaries. It sets conscience. It gives shape to chaos. Cherry bent down, touched the fiery outline. His fingertips sparked, and the circle sealed around him, neither trapping nor freeing, but reminding him, every choice draws a boundary. He whispered, the circle is not a prison, it is a vow. The choir deepened their refrain, voices overlapping like concentric rings. Compass wide, circle tight, 1775, coffee guides the right. Sip the flame, trace it whole, every line aligns the soul. The great compass dissolved, its arms curling inward until only a single point of light remained. That point stretched into a doorway, curved at its top, marked by geometry invisible yet undeniable. Above the doorway, etched in faint fire, appeared the words, "To draw is to decide." The chant sealed the lesson into his heart as he stepped forward. Circle drawn, soul aligned. RP Radio Cash App, Rap Palace 214. Would you like me to keep pressing onward into Chapter 9, the Ladder of Breath, or pause here, so I can sketch a chant progression chart showing how the 1775 coffee refrains evolve from the early degrees into the higher ones? Pin on Polk Pilot, Cold Change Page 1, created by RP Studios, RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, Rappalace 214 Ixty, Polk Street, Oak Cliff, 975232. Polk Street pulses with life. Streetlights flicker over candy-painted Chevys, creeping slow, bass, rattling storefront glass. Hustlers trade words in coded whispers. Neon signs buzz. Women in heels and bold outfits lean on walls, eyes scanning every movement. The block breathes heavy energy, danger, opportunity, and chaos all wrapped into one. Across the chaos, an Escalade gleams under the streetlight. 8-Ball Ice Rap leans against the hood, cigar burning low. His eyes are sharp but tired, carrying the weight of Polk. 8-Ball Ice Polk raised me. Polk fed me. Polk chained me. Everybody want the crown, but nobody asked what it cost. Tonight, I'm counting my losses, not my profits. Ice scans the street, taking mental inventory. A young hustler bumps into a parked bike, spilling a bag of merchandise. Ice doesn't move. He just watches. Polk Street demands respect, and he has it, but the cost lingers. Cut to X corner store, night inside. The clerk eyes everyone suspiciously. A kid in a hoodie buys candy, but hides a stack of cash under his sleeve. 2 older men play dice in the corner, shouting over the game. Ice walks past, tipping his hat to some, ignoring others. Everyone knows who he is. 8-Ball Ice. The crown sits heavy, and Polk whispers all night, "Come back, come back. You know you belong here." A car horn blasts. Ice glances. Slick Ronnie, a rival, leans out of his ride, smirking. Ice exhales slowly, refusing the fight tonight. A small victory. Polk notices everything. Cut to X street corner. Night Ice passes a group of women. One, Lila, approaches him. "Leela, you heard about Malik down the street. Said he's talking reckless." Ice nods, calm. The block waits to see if he'll snap. 8-Ball Ice old ways. They never die. They wait. lurking ready. Maybe I don't gotta answer every call. Lila walks off. Ice watches her fade into the neon haze, remembering why he wants out. The street keeps moving around him, lives, games, hustles, while he stands frozen between choice and habit. Cut to Ext. Barbershop, night inside. Uncle Red trims a young client's hair while watching the street through the glass window. Ice steps in, tipping his hat. The barbershop smells of talc, grease, and nostalgia, comfort, safety, judgment. Uncle Red, you tired boy. Game will drain every drop out of you till you just another ghost walking poke. 8-ball ice I want out, but poke don't let go easy. Uncle Red change ain't free. You gon' pay one way or another. Ice nods, absorbing the wisdom. Outside, poke continues its rhythm. Orange shouts, music. He's tied to it, but a seed of something else grows inside. Smash cut to black, pimpin' on Polk Pilot, Cold Change, page 2, created by RP Studios, RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, RapHallis214T. Motel room, night. The neon glow from Polk Street leaks through the thin curtains. The room smells like stale smoke and cheap perfume. A small TV flickers in the corner, muted, showing a late-night music video. Lila storms in, her heels clacking against the tile floor. Her makeup is smudged, and her purse is swinging violently. She throws a stack of cash on the bed. Lila, he ain't pay. Said he'd rather hit me than hand it over. Ice stands near the window, looking out at the street below. The old him would have bolted out the door, ready to enforce respect. But tonight, he doesn't move. He just exhales, letting smoke curl from his cigar. Ball ice, this ain't it no more. Lila glares at him, frustrated, hurt, but something in his calm stance makes her pause. Ice walks over and sits on the edge of the bed, careful not to crowd her. 8-ball ice every night, same fight. Different faces, same chaos. But tonight, maybe it don't gotta be the same. Lila picks up the cash and counts it, shaking her head. Lila, you really think you can just walk away? Polk won't let you. Ice rubs the back of his neck, tired. 8-ball ice, I'm not walking away. I'm trying to change. Lila looks at him incredulously, her expression softening just a bit. Lila, change. From what? From who you've always been. Ice leans back, lighting another cigar, thinking. 8-ball ice. It's like Polk's got a hold on me, but I gotta let go, or get buried under my own choices. A knock at the door startles them both. Ice freezes, listening. The street outside hums faintly through the thin walls. He shakes his head, dismissing it. 8-ball ice, ignore it. That's Polk trying to pull me back in. Lila shakes her head, but doesn't argue. She sits on the bed beside him, counting the cash slowly, letting the silence stretch. Ice stares out the window, the neon reflections on his face. Determination and doubt mix in his gaze. 8-ball ice tonight. I decide who I am. Not Polk, not Slick Ronnie, not anybody else. Me. He takes a long drag from his cigar, the smoke curling around his face, the neon reflecting off his chains. The camera pans to the street outside. Polk continues its rhythm, unaware that 8-ball ice rap is starting to fight his own war. Smash cut to Ext. Barbershop. Night Ice steps out into the night, walking past familiar storefronts, the weight of the street on his shoulders. The block is alive, but he moves differently now, cautious, aware, but not ruled by fear or reputation. RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App RapHallis214. Absolutely, here's page 3 of Pimpin' on Polk. continuing the pilot in proper TV style. RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, RPRadio.Site, Pimpin' on Polk Pilot, Cold Change, page 3, created by RP Studio and T, Barbershop, Night. The bell above the door jingles as Ice steps inside. The smell of talc, hair grease, and old oak hits him, comfort mixed with the weight of memories. Classic soul music hums softly from a corner radio. A few clients are scattered in chairs, their conversations low but animated. Uncle Red is trimming a young client's hair. He looks up and nods knowingly at Ice. No words needed. He's been watching him for years. Uncle Red, you look tired, boy. Game'll drain every drop out of you till you're just another ghost walking Polk. Ice leans against a chair, removing his chain from around his neck to set it on the counter. He lights a cigar, letting the smoke curl slowly toward the ceiling. 8-ball Ice, I want out, but Polk don't let go easy. Uncle Red pauses, clippers buzzing softly in the background. He sets them down and walks closer, folding his arms. Uncle Red, change ain't free, Ice. You gonna pay one way or another. Polk's got claws, and every time you try to step away, it'll grip tighter. Ice exhales smoke, thoughtful. 8-ball Ice, I've been king too long to be a pawn. But maybe it's time to rule differently. Uncle Red gestures toward the window. Uncle Red, look outside. Every corner got a story. Every block got a lesson. Polk don't forgive weakness, but it respects conviction. If you show it. Ice glances out, seeing a familiar hustler argument escalating, a young woman walking briskly down the sidewalk, a car rolling slowly past. The city lives, breaths, tests him. 8-ball Ice conviction. Yeah, that's the weapon I need, not the chain, not the money, not the fear. Ice turns back to Uncle Red, a small nod of determination for me. 8-ball Ice, then I gotta show it. Tonight. Right now. Uncle Red smiles faintly, like a teacher seeing a student finally take the lesson to heart. Uncle Red then start moving. But remember, Polk don't sleep, Ice. It watches. Always. Ice pockets the cigar, adjusts his jacket, and steps toward the door. Outside, the hum of Polk Street waits for him, loud, relentless, and challenging. He's stepping into the night with a new mindset, but old enemies, old habits, and old streets aren't going to make it easy. Polk Street. Night Ice emerges into the night, the neon signs reflecting off his Escalade. The block moves around him, unaware that the king is changing his rules. Slick Ronnie's ride is parked down the street. Eyes meet. The tension is palpable. 8-ball Ice change is a war, not a prayer. And tonight, I'm picking my battles. Ice walks forward, confident but cautious. Polk Street watches, our radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App, RPRadio.Site. Meet the Friends. Jeffrey Jerome Price knew tonight was big. This wasn't just any dinner. This was the night Marissa introduced him to her friends. A test, really. If they liked him, it was another step forward. If not, well, Jeffrey had a knack for making things messy. But Jeffrey, being Jeffrey, came prepared. He packed what he called his charm kit, a box of donuts, a deck of Uno cards, and of course a Bluetooth speaker for setting vibes. Marissa's friends, 3 smart, stylish women, were already seated at the restaurant when Jeffrey arrived. He kicked open the door, holding the donut box above his head like a trophy. Ladies, your knight in shining sprinkles has arrived. Marissa groaned and buried her face in her hands. Oh no, The friends exchanged puzzled looks. One whispered, "Is this him?" Jeffrey plopped the box on the table, slid into his seat, and winked. "Before we start, I just want to say, like, share, and subscribe to this date because it's about to get legendary." Things started rocky. When the waiter asked for drink orders, Jeffrey tried to impress. "I'll take your fanciest wine, the one with bubbles. Champagne, right? That's just adult soda." When his glass arrived, he raised it dramatically. "To Marissa's amazing friends, may you see through my chaos and find the charm." Then he took a huge gulp and immediately coughed, spraying a little onto the breadbasket. Marissa's best friend, Tasha, stared him down. "So, Jeffrey, what do you do for a living?" Jeffrey grinned. "Great question. I'm currently between projects. But I did once invent a business plan involving squirrels and drone delivery. Want to hear about it?" The table went silent. Marissa kicked him under the table. Jeffrey whispered to the camera only he could see, "Viewers, don't panic. It's going well. Trust the process." When the entrees came, Jeffrey tried to cut his steak too forcefully. The knife slipped, sending a chunk of meat flying onto Tasha's lap. "Oh, extra protein for you, Tasha," he said, panicking, then tried to dab at her skirt with his napkin. She swatted him away, glaring. Marissa covered her face, muttering, "Why do I let you out in public?" But then somehow Jeffrey's magic kicked in. After dessert, he pulled out the Uno cards. "Listen, you can judge me all you want, but Uno reveals a person's soul. Let's play." Against their better judgment, Marissa's friends agreed. Within 15 minutes, the table was roaring with laughter as Jeffrey trash-talked, danced after every draw 4, and even got Tasha laughing when he shouted, "Reverse," just like my dating history. By the end of the night, Marissa's friends admitted that while Jeffrey was chaotic, he was also undeniably entertaining. As they left, Marissa whispered, "You're lucky they laughed." Jeffrey winked at the invisible camera. Viewers, victory unlocked. Drop a comment if you think I passed the friend test. And for the first time, Marissa squeezed his hand. Maybe, just maybe, his knucklehead charm was working. RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App Rap Palace 214. The work event Wipeout Marissa had been hesitant about this one. She was proud of her career and wanted to share that part of her world with Jeffrey. But she also knew what bringing Jeffrey Jerome Price into a professional setting meant. Potential chaos. Still, she invited him to her company's networking gala. A suit and tie event. Classy, elegant. The complete opposite of Jeffrey's natural environment. Jeffrey hyped himself up in front of his mirror before leaving. All right, viewers, tonight's goal. Professional Jeffrey. Suave, sophisticated, business casual plus. Like, share, and subscribe, because this is about to be a LinkedIn level performance. He tugged on a slightly oversized suit, paired it with sneakers because comfort is key, and sprayed way too much cologne. When they arrived, Marissa looked stunning in her cocktail dress. Jeffrey, on the other hand, strutted in like he owned the building. He loudly announced to the coat check clerk, "Put this suit on file, my man. I'm coming back for it when I win Employee of the Year." Marissa cringed. "Jeffrey, you don't even work here." "Details," Jeffrey whispered, winking at the invisible camera. Jeffrey tried his hardest to blend in, shaking hands too firmly, laughing too loudly, and misusing every corporate buzzword he could remember. "So, what's your synergy output ratio?" he asked Marissa's boss, who looked thoroughly confused. Later, he attempted to impress a group of Marissa's colleagues with business talk. "I've got a killer startup idea. Imagine Uber, but for squirrels. We deliver snacks to your door using trained raccoons. Total market disruptor." Marissa facepalmed so hard it nearly echoed. During dinner, Jeffrey tried to give a toast in Marissa's honor. He stood up, clinked his glass too hard, and shattered it in his hand. "Ladies and gentlemen," he bellowed over the startled crowd, "I just want to say this amazing woman, Marissa, is the reason I'm not still living off gas station nachos. She deserves a raise, a trophy, and a lifetime supply of Starbucks." People chuckled, but Marissa wanted to crawl under the table. Then, as if scripted by fate, Jeffrey leaned too far back in his chair while bowing dramatically. The chair tipped. He fell flat on his back with a crash. Silence filled the room until Jeffrey popped up, arms wide. And that, folks, is called taking a fall for love. The crowd erupted in laughter. On the ride home, Marissa sighed. "Jeffrey, you embarrassed me. But somehow, everyone liked you." Jeffrey grinned, holding her hand. "Because, babe, I'm unforgettable. Even when I fall flat on my face." He winked at his imaginary viewers one last time. "Don't forget to like, share, and comment if you think I survived Corporate Hunger Games 101. Marissa tried to stay annoyed, but she couldn't stop smiling. His ridiculousness was slowly, stubbornly winning her over. RP Radio. Love the content, drop a comment, share this with others, and subscribe for more content. Cash App Rap Palace 214. Behind the mic. Donation Rap gets the real stories from the rap universe. The rap universe has always been more than battles, rhymes, and flashy forms. It's a journey of growth, self-discovery, and alignment. Viewers around the globe have been reaching out, sharing how the struggles, victories, and lessons of the rap tribe, and even the evil rap family, changed their lives. To give fans the answers they've been waiting for, Donation Rap went behind the scenes, sitting down with every major player to explore their journey, mindset, and advice. Along the way, we hear directly from viewers who applied these lessons to transform their lives. Rap Palace is now. Don't just watch, be the change. Donate Rap Palace 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising Scene 1. Opening the vault with anonymous cherry, the camera rolls. Donation Rap leans forward, energy crackling through the studio lights. A holographic ticker scrolls behind him. Viewers' questions answered. Rap Universe Edition. Donation Rap. Yo, viewers been asking, how do you all handle pressure? How do you rise when everything's stacked against you? First up, Anonymous Cherry. Anonymous Cherry. Viewers, your past doesn't define your future. Every challenge is fuel. I had to train my chi, master my forms, and align my energy before anything else would move. Viewer responses. Kaylar, 27, Atlanta, Georgia. Anonymous Cherry inspired me to create daily rituals and go back to school. I finally feel on the right path. Javier P., 30, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Watching the Magic Bank pushed me to start my own business. My confidence exploded in months. Sofiaki, 24, Madrid, Spain. I learned to meditate and focus on what I can control. It's changed my mental health. Rohank, 32, Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. I started training physically and mentally after seeing the tribe's dedication. I'm more disciplined than ever. Amaran, 26, Lagos, Nigeria. I realized my past failures are just fuel for growth. That mindset shifted everything for me. Donation Rap cues a brief donation jingle. Fuel your story. Donate and power the rap universe today. Rap Palace is now. Don't just watch. Be the change. Donate Rap Palace 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising Scene 2. Night Rap's armor of denial. Night Rap strides in, armor clanking, his presence commanding. Donation Rap. Night. Viewers want to know, how do you handle fear and failure? Night Rap. I used to hide behind rules, thinking control was everything. Vulnerability is strength. Showing up imperfectly teaches more than perfection ever could. Viewer responses. Marcus, 35, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Seeing Night Rap face fear inspired me to join a public speaking club. Life-changing. Reneem, 41, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. I started a community for personal growth after seeing Night's journey. Hiroshi, 29, Tokyo, Japan. I realized that perfectionism was holding me back. I now take daily small steps toward growth. Lelis, 25, Cairo, Egypt. Night Rap's story helped me confront family pressures I had avoided for years. Diego, 33, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Learning vulnerability is strength changed how I lead my team at work. Give back, level up, and keep the rap tribe alive. Rap Palace is now. Don't just watch, be the change. Donate Rap Palace 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising Scene 3. Researcher Rap's revelation. Researcher Rap adjusts his headphones. Calm and reflective. Donation Rap. Researcher. Viewers loved your scene with the whale energy. How do you stay true when life gets heavy? Researcher Rap. It forced me to confront grief and self-doubt. Viewers started journaling, meditating, and exploring their inner guidance. Viewer responses. Sophia L., 22, London, England, UK. I connected with my inner self and started daily journaling. Darius K., 29, Miami, Florida, USA. I faced grief I had ignored for years after watching Researcher Rap meditate. Annika P., 34, Berlin, Germany. I started therapy and mindfulness practices inspired by the tribe's discipline. Mateo R., 27, Mexico City, Mexico. I created my own meditation rituals which improved my focus and relationships. Neko, 31, Johannesburg, South Africa. Watching the whale meditation helped me reconnect with nature and myself. Rap Palace is now. Don't just watch, be the change. Donate Rap Palace 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising Scene 4. Enter the evil rap family. The studio dims. Twilight Zone Rap and the evil rap family appear. Aura intense and mysterious. Donation Rap. Twilight Zone. Viewers are shocked you agreed to this. What should they know about embracing your shadow? Twilight Zone Rap. Chaos teaches lessons. Many viewers recognize themselves in our flaws, pride, resentment, fear, and were motivated to heal. Viewer responses. Liam S., 26, Berlin, Germany. Seeing Twilight Zone Rap's journey made me confront toxic habits in friendships. Isabella M., 33, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I reflected on consequences before reacting emotionally, thanks to Dark Ember Rap. Omar A., 28, Dubai, UAE. I learned that unchecked ambition can harm relationships. Your story warned me. Hana K., 24, Seoul, South Korea. I started journaling my shadow side after seeing the evil rap family's flaws. 20, Ethan W., 30, Vancouver, Canada. They taught me the importance of balance between ambition and empathy. Illuminate your path. Support the rap universe today. Rap Palace is now. Don't just watch, be the change. Donate Rap Palace 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising Scene 5. The Heart of the Tribe Donation Rap. Anonymous Night Researcher. Viewers are saying your stories gave them hope and motivation. How does that feel? Anonymous Cherry. It's humbling. People are building routines, starting businesses, healing past trauma. They're using our stories as a blueprint. Night Rap. Growth isn't just about wins. It's about showing up, even imperfectly. Researcher Rap. They're experimenting, failing, and trying again, exactly like we do in the time chamber. Viewer highlights. Caden H19, New York City, New York, USA. I started meditating with friends and created a community journal circle. Amelia F., 28, Paris, France. The stories inspired me to leave a toxic job and start my own design studio. Carlos M., 36, Madrid, Spain. I began daily fitness routines to build discipline inspired by the tribe. Fatima R., 25, Casablanca, Morocco. I embraced mindfulness and reflection after seeing Anonymous Cherry evolve. Tariq H., 31, Lahore, Pakistan. I started mentoring younger peers in my community, inspired by the tribe's teamwork. Fuel the tribe, fuel your life, donate now. Rap Palace is now, don't just watch, be the change. Donate Rap Palace 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising Scene 6. Closing thoughts, donation rap. Viewers also asked, can the light and dark coexist? Twilight Zone Rap. Without darkness, light has no definition. Watching both sides helps viewers understand balance. Anonymous Cherry. It's all about alignment, your energy, actions, and intent. Stories guide, but viewers do the work. And seeing them take action, that's everything. Viewer highlights. Maya L., 23, Sydney, Australia. I realized I can acknowledge my flaws while pursuing growth. Raphael T., 34, Lisbon, Portugal. I started journaling both my successes and failures to understand myself better. Chloe B., 27, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I learned to balance ambition and empathy in leadership roles. Ahmed S., 29, Cairo, Egypt. I use meditation to navigate challenging situations without losing composure. Isabella N., 31, Milan, Italy. I reflected on past mistakes and set actionable goals for self-improvement. Join the movement, donate, unlock behind the scenes, and step into your power. Rap Palace is now, don't just watch, be the change. Donate Rallis 214 UmyoMilitary.site. Rap Palace Rising.
Yo, rap family, let me ask you something. Why you not donating today? You vibing, you laughing, you watching, but ain't tapping that button? $2? That's 2 bricks on the palace wall. Don't ever downplay small. Small stacks make big hauls. Now, why wait? Today builds the gate. $1 now. Excuses later. Drop that seed, watch it greater.
Why not today? Why not today?
Why you stallin'? Why you late? Drop that love, don't hesitate. Like, share, subscribe, donate.
Say this with me.
I give because I believe. I sow because I will reap. I donate because it fuels the dream. I give and I receive.
Powered by that 1776 coffee. Wake up your grind, power your mind, sip for the cause, sow for the mission. Link in the bio, family. Sip with me, sow with me, and let's grow this palace.
While you sip in that brew, let me drop this view. Invest in homes, invest in you, and donate too. It's the palace move, that's right. We build in dreams, brick by brick, house by house, dollar by dollar.
Don't think small, think impact. $1 stacks, $2 snapback, 5 keeps us on track, 10 makes the palace never look back. Then share, comment, spread the mission. Donation ain't just coins, it's connection.